It's me again. It's pretty late here on the East Coast, but I had some inspiration, so I wanted to go ahead and get it off my chest. Since the pandemic has hit, I have been doing some outreach, courtesy of my YouTube channel, which is Mental Warriors Peer Group Chat. You can catch me over on YouTube. I do these videos not for self-profit, for outreach purposes. I'm a person that lives with mental illness, and I talk about mental health diagnoses from my perspective, somebody who's actually lived it. Not somebody who's read a textbook, not somebody who has gotten it secondhand information. Somebody who's actually lived it. Now, again, see me on my YouTube channel, Mental Warriors Peer Group Chat. My title for today is Turning Pain into Power. I know that some people may not see pain as power. Some people may see pain as exactly what it is, pain. Some people may see suffering for what it is, suffering. But I'm here to tell you today that you can turn your pain into power. I'll give you an example. My mother married a man who turned out to not be about family. Their marriage only lasted about 6 weeks. After that, my mom came back to the East Coast. My father, I have no idea what he did. My father was not in my life at all when I was growing up. Not even a little bit. If my father's watching this video, I also want you to know that I forgive you. This is not a shot at you. Just some information that I want to put out there. I'm beyond hating you. I'm beyond using you as an excuse. My mom, I was born in '76. My mom could have had one of the closet abortions. My mom could have put me up for adoption because it was clear from the time I was born that my father wasn't going to be a part of my life. But no, what my mother did was she persevered on a teacher's salary. She got her own house. She continued to do what her passion was, which was teaching. My mother always taught me that if her teaching, her lessons reached one person, then it was worth it. So my mother grinded out all those years with me, and I know good and well that I wasn't always the greatest kid. I probably gave her some headaches. But instead of my mom taking an easy way out, she persevered. She turned her failed marriage into a success story. The success story being me. When I was in the military, 18, 19 years old, and when I decided I was going to persevere, I owed my mother that. When I got sick, when I was around 20, I was in a corner. I never forget, and you probably will see this in one of my other videos. I will never forget, I had a knife. I had it to my left wrist, and I just remembered my mother always taught me to be strong. My mother always taught me to be my own person. My mother always taught me to be resilient. That's what kept me from committing suicide that particular day, along with God. To this day, that's what kept me out of the grave, was my mom's perseverance, my mom's determination, which was my mom's effort into going against the odds. Now, when I say about turning pain into power, what I mean is I went through a lot of my life. Homelessness, loneliness, suicidal thoughts, pain, physical pain. Right before I went into the hospital, I got into a car accident and I broke my arm, my right arm, and I'm right-handed, so I couldn't even as much write my name legibly. I couldn't fill out a job application. I couldn't lift my arm to do anything. So it was up to me to continue to persevere, even though I couldn't do anything, which is what I chose to do. I was homeless. My arm was broken. There was no way to overcome the homelessness because I couldn't do anything from my right arm. Push come to shove, I chose to persevere anyway. So the homelessness, the physical pain, the mental pain, what I chose to do was grab all this opposition that was in my face telling me that I could not, and I grabbed it and I turned it around into a positive, and I put it on my shoulder, and I said, instead of it being in my face and they grabbing me by my collar and dragging me backwards, I put it on my shoulder. So it would grab me like this and drag me forward. From that particular point, when I grabbed that opposition and it grabbed me and it pulled me forward, my arm healed. My mind gave me just a little bit so that I could grab just enough sanity to get a job. And I could eventually overcome my homelessness by getting a place. But then I got a job, the prison system. I was a prison guard for Baltimore City Detention Center. I did good for about the first 8 or 9 months. And then next thing you know, at about the 11th month, I started feeling really, really strange. Really strange. I had no idea what was going on, but all I knew is that something was not right. I called my boss and I said, "Sir, I'm sick and I need to go to the hospital." He let me go, and when I was on my way out of the jail, one of my coworkers said, "Oh, you must be going home slick, everybody does this when they get tired of, the grind." And I said, "No, actually, I don't know what's going on." And then I missed the next 17 days of work. I was in and out of hospitals, in and out of day programs. I just felt this need to kill myself. I just felt this need to get it all over with. So I spent the next 17 days in the hospital, on and off suicidal thoughts, on and off confusion, on and off everything. I just can't put everything into words that I was feeling at the time. So after my 17 days that I missed of work, I went back because this was my idea of success. My idea of success, which was the same as society's definition of success, which was I was making money. I had a Mustang GT that I was proud of. I had a job that I was proud of. I had a paycheck that I was proud of. But I was empty as hell on the inside. And as I grew, I realized that this particular idea of society's idea of success, was not what I needed at the time. So after the 17 days, I went back to work in my big time job at the jail, and I lasted about a month. Then I wound up in the hospital again for the same reasons. I didn't get a doctor's note that time, so needless to say, I was terminated after that. Wound up homeless again. I lost my car in a car accident. I lost my place. I lost my relationship. I lost everything. I didn't know how to function from that point, because I was all sold on success by society standards. So I had no idea what I was going to do. What I had to do was change my mind. I decided I had to define success by my own means. So after my arm healed, I got a security job. I earned my income. I was happy with my job. and which is really all that it means, which is really all success is. Whatever, if you're happy with your job, if you're happy with your place, if you're happy with where you are in life, then that is success. You know, society's definition of success is prestige, it's status, it's so many silly little things that you'll die trying to keep up with. Once I decided that I wasn't going to live by that motto anymore, I did a lot better. Once I got my little job, I got back on my feet and I got myself a place again and everything. I was back on the road to self-satisfaction. Fast forward a few years, I got married my first time. I got with my first wife, and she was determined to for me to live by society standards. So I constantly stayed depressed. I constantly stayed put off. I constantly stayed suicidal, sometimes even homicidal, because I just wanted my life to be over, whether it was in the jail, whether it was in suicide, whatever it was. After my first marriage ended, I had been single for about 4 to 5 years, and I got with my second wife. Things were going better, but not exactly great, you know. Once this pandemic hit, I had nothing to hide behind anymore. I had nothing to disguise anymore. I got with my life coach, and my life coach told me exactly where it is that I needed to be. And at first, I was like, whatever. You know, I really wasn't sold onto what it is that I needed to be doing. Since the pandemic hit, I decided that I was just going to build. I was going to build outside of the 9 to 5. I was going to build outside of my comfort zone. I was going to build inside of both of those things. What I did was I took all of my pain that I felt, the loss of my first marriage, the depression, the suicidal thoughts, the homicidal thoughts, the feelings of desertion from my family, the feelings of loneliness. I decided that I was going to take all of that, and I was going to, instead of it sitting in front of my face like this, threatening me, I decided that I was going to grab it, I was going to put it on my shoulder, and I was going to have it grab my collar and pull me forward, instead of it being in front of my face, grabbing me by my collar and pulling me backwards. So, when I thought about becoming a motivational speaker, at first, I was like, well, what if it doesn't produce? What if it doesn't, what if it doesn't satisfy my income needs, you know? So when I thought about those things, I looked at my opposition and I said, okay, just like I went through all this for my opposition, you know, I'm going to take my opposition and I'm going to put it on my shoulder and I'm going to say, well, if it doesn't meet my needs, then I can always do something else. I can always work harder. I can always change my mind if it was just a complete loss. I could always change my mind, you know? So I started also looking into being a life coach. So I said, okay, you know, that would be a nice living, you know? And then so my opposition was looking at me in my face and they were saying, well, you know, maybe, what if you don't get enough clients, you know? What if a lot of people don't agree with you, you know? So instead of taking that in as my opposition, I took it and I grabbed it and I put it on my shoulder and I said, well, What if I do get enough clients? What if I do get enough people who believe in me? What if I do get the support that I need? So again, my opposition grabbing me by the front of my collar and pulling me forward. Also, I thought about writing a book, which is probably my toughest struggle. So I said, okay, what about if I write this book and it doesn't make any money, right? That's my opposition again, looking in my face. Well, what about if you go through all this and you don't write and it doesn't make any money? It doesn't benefit you right off the bat, you know? And instead of looking at that, you know, I took the opposition, all those thoughts, and I put them on my shoulder and I said, okay, what if a lot of people don't buy my book? What if I don't make any money off of this? What if I may even come up in the red, in the negative? You know, I may have to pay something out instead of getting something in. Well, you know what? The people who do buy that book may be inspired to keep pushing, may be inspired to keep, to get that job, may be inspired to look outside of themselves and keep it real with themselves and say, okay, I'm not this perfect person, you know. But then I read this book, and I read this book about this guy who was not the perfect person, but he chose to drive forward anyway. My outreach means more to me than any dollar sign. So, you know what? By me grabbing my opposition and putting it on my shoulder, I decided that I am going to pursue my goals as a motivational speaker, as a wisdom coach, as a author. And if these things don't work out, you know what? So be it. It doesn't work out. But my desire for outreach is what matters to me anyway. So if these things don't work out financially, they will work out spiritually. They will work out emotionally. So in closing, I would just like to say this. There is power in your pain. You can take your pain and you can insert it in your brain and you can say, well, you know, I'm feeling pretty hopeless. I'm feeling kind of lonely. I'm feeling suicidal. I'm feeling all of these things. Or you can say, you know what? I'm looking at this opposition right now. And instead of taking it in, having to tell me lies about I'm not worth it, I'm not good enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm not all of these things that I'm not. I want to grab my opposition and I want to put it on my shoulder and I want to use that as fuel to drive me forward and say, you know, just because things don't work out by society standards does not mean that they're not successful. If I can reach one person, get that one person off of a bridge, or if I can get that one person to put the knife down, if I can get that one person to put the gun down, then that's all the success that I need. You know, money is just a bonus. Anything that you get in this life is a bonus. When you're born, only thing you're required to do is be born and you're required to die. Everything else in this life is a bonus. All that so-called society success, you know, it really doesn't mean much. My definition of success is if I can reach out to someone, whether it be by book, whether it be by speaking, whether it be by coaching, and get them to put the knife down, get them to put the gun down, get them off of a bridge. That's what matters to me, because in the long run, I still have a passion for taking care of people. So my other goals don't work out, so be it. You know, I have no problem with being a nurse, taking care of people. That's another passion of mine. So, but these goals that I have that I've set for myself during this pandemic, I will be pursuing, and I will be pursuing them by taking that pain that I felt from the year 2000 when I was first diagnosed at 24 years old to this day as a 44-year-old man, and I will be putting that pain on my shoulder and feeding off of it. I had that pain grab me by my collar and pull me forward rather than looking at my opposition and then having it grab me by my collar and drag me backwards. I will fulfill my goals. I will continue to do whatever it takes to reach the good people that it needs to reach. I hope that this was informative to you. And if you see it in your heart, go on over to my YouTube channel, Mental Warriors Peer Group Chat. You'll see the edited version without all the breaks and without all of the pauses, which I don't mind doing because I'd rather speak from my mind, because I don't care how Jim did it. I don't care how Phil did it. You know, I'm concerned with how I did it. So, but you can see the edited versions over there on my YouTube channel. So for those who are watching, I'll wave to you. I hope to see you over on my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you in my future endeavors. Thank you so much.